And we're going to have to find out right now. What up, YouTube? Everybody say hi to YouTube in the chat. I reached a goal over here on Twitch of 50 subs. First off, thank you guys so much for supporting the dream and making it come true. I've got another goal here happening in the near future in the new year. We will get on that very, very soon. But my goal for 50 subs was I was going to make a brand new My Hero CCG tier list. I made one as soon as the game first came out, and I had not played too terribly many games, but I played enough to make it worthwhile. So we're going to take and pause this music, and we're going to go through a tier list. Yeah, we're going to go through a tier list. So we'll switch over to my screen 2. Can you guys see this? Yeah, this looks like a fine spot. All right, so we've got a couple of tiers, and I want to explain the tiers as we go, right? We've got top tier. Obviously, these are the best of the best. I didn't want to put this in like S, A, B, C, D, F, because I don't believe that there are any S tier characters. I believe that there is a best character. I believe that there is a monster of the format that everybody has to beat and fight, but I don't actually believe that there's one of those pillars. I believe that there are a couple. So the top tiers are like your pillars of the meta, the characters that are the cream of the crop, the best of the best. Even in a bad situation, their card text can get them out of sticky spots. Sticky spots, be prepared. Mid tiers, these are your well-rounders. They have to have both good decks made as well as a solid pilot in order to play them. Their card text is probably, or their strategy is not quite as good as the top tiers. But they're not like floundering because of it. And then for low tier decks, these are decks that are really pilot dependent. I believe because of how small of a format we exist in, and because of how the card pool works, and not like the area of the game, but the amount of cards that we have in the game, mixed with the way that the game works of you being able to kind of dig your way out. I think that this game emphasizes good skill, good play, good pilots, rather than like nutty decks and you just like remember the combos. And so that's where we go all the way down to the lowest tier, where these are the lowest quality heroes and villains. Your character has the worst card text, but with a good pilot, you are for sure going to be you could easily go top, honestly, even win an event with one of these low tier characters. I have added a sideboard tier because I just want to talk about some of these characters that I don't believe that a lot of these characters, a lot is subjective. I don't believe that some of these characters should exist in the, should be your starting character, because there is no diversity, which I'm not even going to get to on this video. But they could be some really, they have some really solid matchups. And then, yeah, but my we do have one more tier, but we just won't talk about it. The big thing that I want to jump into before we get to any of my tiers is I do want to talk about the fact that these are just opinions. This is me who has played the game a lot. Like, I've played the game quite a bit, and I love being wrong. And if you disagree with me, one of my absolute favorite things to have happen, one of my absolute favorite things to have happen is to be proven wrong. I want you to go put up results. I want that. And so, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. I do want to pull up. I have UVS Ultra here with some characters pulled up. And yes, there's a question in my chat. This will be throughout all the DLC. This will be every character that is currently on UVS Ultra for the My Hero sets. So I don't have any of the provisional pack stuff, but so be it. All Might. We've got All Might. I think that All Might, at the start of the season, was a mid-tier character. I now believe that All Might is a low-tier character. And I mean that only because he hit a really hard brick wall. It was already hard enough for my man All Might when he just had to deal with on-board answers of like charged up and you're so obvious, but now he has to deal with the most staple of staple cards in the whole wide world, Plus Ultra. If Plus Ultra didn't exist, if Plus Ultra got banned tomorrow, I'd put him right back up here in mid-tier. I think he's a low tier character. I think you're gonna play this guy because you don't have access to any of the other All Mights, and you'll just have fun with him. I think you'll just have a blast. Denky. I think Denky is, or you like Detroit? Hey, good point. Denky, I think, is a mid-tier character. I think Denky easily gets there, but I think that you have to have a good deck to do so. You could put him at the very top of low tier, in my opinion, because if you whiff being a 20 health aggro character, he kind of gets splatted sometimes. I kind of feel like if you play Denky, you have to put like a 6-hander in your sideboard. I normally put Ochako here in my sideboard to make sure that I don't, as Fidi says, loses to Nomu instantly. Sometimes you just want to play Ancestral Recall. I get it, Mr. Amatsu, which, by the way, hey, big shout outs to your deck. I think you can actually still put exclamation point deck list in chat to go to the YouTube video that I played your All Might. I went 2-2 yesterday at the event. I lost to Nomu and Shigaraki. It was very cool. So big shout outs, man. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, but this guy's I think he's very mid tier. Could easily be the top of low tier depending on how we get there. Kiroshima. This is undisputed the best character in the game. Kiroshima. It is not close. It's not close. There's characters that do a good job fighting against Kiroshima, but I don't think that there's anybody who is better than Kiroshima. I do not think you could say that with a straight face. I think the closest might surprise you, and we'll get there when we get there. Up next, we have Eraserhead. I think Eraserhead is another one of those characters, and this character is really good because he's great at breaking Kiroshima's wall as long as you play the game correctly. As well as he's got some really solid matchups versus pretty much the rest of the cast as well. There are some characters where his erase doesn't work necessarily great, but still having +2 or -2 speed and then a emergency parachute of draw 2 and being able to add a 1-bit block with breaker 1 to your hand whenever you need to is a good ability. It's like that's just a good thing to be able to do anytime you want. And so with that, and with his versatility and his access under the void symbol, which is his primary symbol, to play a 3-card infinite once my opponent has gotten to deadlock. He is a top tier character. You will be seeing him all over in top cuts. Tokoyami, he is kind of the exact same way with how I feel about Denky, except for 1 tier up. He is either the absolute top of mid tier, or he's the absolute top of mid tier or the absolute bottom of top tier. I think that if Tokoyami on turn 2, going first or second, draws what he wants and checks what he wants, he'll kill every person in the game. And that includes Nomu. I think that this character can do it with the right build. I think he's the exact answer to a. I think he is the answer if you, I just want to play a red deck. I think you just play Tokoyami, right? I find orange card, blue card, orange card, blue card, orange card, blue card. There was a fun podcast back in the day about that with that name. But yeah, I think he's either the bottom of top tier or the top of mid tier. So I'm gonna leave him at mid for now, and he's probably gonna get pushed. Actually, no, the bird deserves the top tier. The bird deserves it. Sero. This hurts me. I think Sero's a low tier character. Sero's card text is not actually what it says. This is not what Sero's card text is. Sero's card text is, he has a static that says, all of my moves are unblockable until you're at single-digit life. As soon as you're at single-digit life, you then are allowed to block my moves. And what I mean by that is anytime that I play against a Sero, I missed something in chat. I'm sorry. I think it's rock, paper, scissors, to be honest. Jiro has a good time against Eraser. Eraser has a good time against Kiroshima. Yeah. I mean, we're going to get to Jiro, I promise. Can you please change the lowest tier, or do I have to build a deck to make you change it? A free love, I would love for you to build a deck and fight me with Ida 2 and prove me wrong. I would absolutely love that. Plus, no spoilers. I don't want to talk about the Ida 2 tier list, Ida 2 tier until we're there. We definitely need rock, paper, scissors for like we probably got 5 decks of potential high, mid, low, top. Interesting. Sarah's low? Yeah, I think Sarah's low. I think Sarah's a low tier character. When you look at the descriptors that I gave, yeah. Which if you missed that, you'll have to go back to the VOD. Anywho. I think this character says that either you full block him or you don't block him until you're in single digit life. You never partial block this character. If you have the option to partial block or take like 15, I'd rather take 15 than give him the 2 extra cards. And that's like 99% of the time. Maybe 15 is a lot depending on my health, right? If I'm playing a 6-hander or higher, I don't partial block him if he's doing 15 to me. I would rather not. I think it is way too important. I think the only ways that he really kills you is with tape swings. And so you full block the moves that he changes to low or high because he never leaves them mid. 9 times out of 10, they change it to low. The big mix-up is to change everything to high. That's actually the play that I do whenever I play Sero, is game 1, I change everything to one of the 2 zones I pick beforehand, right? I pick based on what they've built out and checked. I either change it to low or high. And then the next game, I change it to the opposite zone. And so, like, all game 1, I'll just make it all low, and then all game 2, I'll make it all high, right? When I play Sarah, I just make everything mid, yeah. And that is where I'm at, right? Like, it is all based on this character finding, no one expects absolute sanity. It is all about this character, like, playing, his cards are not good, you being a pilot is good, right? We've got Midoriya. Midoriya is a low tier character. Midoriya is the bottom of low tier. I think he is like the pinnacle of my cards are not good, I am good. If my opponent plays badly against me, Midoriya gets free wins. If my opponent plays bad, Midoriya is the best character in the game, actually, because he can turn 1 attack into 4 attacks, which is insane. It's better value than pretty much every other character for the cheapest cost. If my opponent plays like a Neanderthal, if my opponent thinks even a little bit, then I have to do a lot of heavy lifting. Bakugou, I think Bakugou is a mid-tier character. I think this character just being able to keep himself out of deadlock forever and just like negate that part of the game is exceptional. He is very dependent on my opponent playing with me, as opposed to these characters who don't necessarily care about my opponent playing, one of which says that my opponent does not play the game sometimes. Bakugou's got some really good kit, and I think that a lot of people are resting on Bakugou because, like, I think he has a kind of a hard time versus Kiroshima, but I think he kind of dumpsters a Razorhead, yeah? Right? Like, you got to discard a card and then block my move for my character to, like, not have an ability. Like, destroy a foundation for +2 damage. Like, you want me to do that? So as long as I can find like decent ways to fix my 6-hander problem with like draw cards, so like agitation and latent skill and calling for backup under the fire symbol, I think we got some moves. Erase can't stop his R. Is that true? Erase can't stop his R. Looking after your block attack resolves. Lol, it can't. Hilarious. Erase is also 7-hand size, so he dies to be being called burst speed. True. Jiro. I think Jiro's the second best character in the game. I think Jiro getting to cheat and look at not only the top 2 cards of her deck, but look at the top 2 cards of your opponent's deck. And in regular play, your opponent I get to know, but in webcam play, they do get to know. If you haven't seen that, go check out that other video when we talk about the new Mulligan rules. I think this character is insane. I think this character beats Kiroshima. I think this character beats Eraserhead. I think this character beats a lot of characters. It could be argued that she is the best character in the game, but I think that Kiroshima has a better win rate versus all the other characters than Jiro does. This is a really, really tight race between these two in my head. So when I said Kiroshima is like nobody's close, I think the closest would be Jiro. I think that's it. I think this character is insane. I think this character is actually really, really good. And I don't know, like I think that Kiroshima will be fine as soon as coordinated effort is gone. I don't know what you get rid of in order to make Jiro fine, like with Kiroshima. I think the biggest thing is she's a 6-hand size that doesn't get to sculpt nearly as well as Kiroshima. And so that might just be it. Up next, we've got Mineta, and he is one of the main reasons that I put the sideboard tier on here. I think playing as Mineta in your main board is not the correct call. I think his only symbol is water, and I think that there are better water characters to do it. I would rather play as pretty much any other water character mainboarded over Mineta, except for maybe Sero. I think that Mineta is the bottom of mid tier. I think that him having access to throws. Actually, no. He's got to do a lot of heavy lifting. You got to know when to respond to this. You got to know when to respond to this character. Mineta's great at sticking to sideboard. Yeah, I mean, if we could leave him in sideboard tier, I would, but I don't want to leave anybody in sideboard tier because that's not very fair to anybody who wanted to mainboard these characters. I think he's like top of low tier. I think his character is very good. I think the biggest thing about him is it's really easy to respond and hurt yourself and have it not give you the value that you need. This character, Mineta, I think is like the main reason you play Mineta in your sideboard is for Nomu coming up, right? And I think these two characters, like they fight each other really, really, really well. Yeah, but I think it's very easy to misplay this character and then accidentally die. Plus 2 damage on everything after my opponent interacts with me, or as Fidu puts out, the DLC attack. That DLC attack, tongue whip or tongue smack or whatever it's called. Literally all of Froppy's attacks say tongue in the name. It's rad and cool. Tongue whip, yeah. This card is insane in Mineta, and it might be enough to push him to mid tier just because of just off the back of that one card. But if we're looking at his overall idea, I still just think I think it takes too much work to make Mineta work. If that is fair. Momo, I think Momo's a mid tier character, maybe mid tier. If she gets lucky, she's kind of got big Midoriya energy, where Momo can kill you on turn 2, but you kind of have to play like a baddie or have a bit of bad luck. You kind of have to put your hand down on the table because her kill condition, her main card is a 8 difficulty essentially, right? Play a card, play a 6 diff. You have to build exceptionally well. This might be one of the characters that wants to go second in this new world order that we have. I think that this might be something to actually think about. As being Momo, maybe going second is the right call. Right? Play a little more defense, scope that extra card, build the foundations, or go fish and find your asset. Now that both players don't get the free mulligan. Conversely, if you're fishing for that asset, you do get 18 cards deep that you get to look at the top 18 cards of your deck to go find some assets. Something to be think about. But yeah, I think she's very handily in mid tier. I think if you check well and you staff strike people, you can just blow people out, and that's not really. I mean, that's not me as a player putting in a bunch of work. That is here. Nomu's a top tier character. You cannot change my mind. Being able to turn every attack into 2 attacks is kind of nuts. The only time that Nomu doesn't work is when he doesn't draw attacks, or you get to turn 7, and even then he's got deadlock pressure under his symbols, right? Under death and earth, he's got deadlock. He's got ways to disrupt my opponent's board. He's got ways to disrupt my opponent's hand. This character feels really, really good. Has a really hard time versus Kiroshima, never gets to block against Jiro, and all of her moves are incredibly big, and has a hard time versus Eraserhead. So these 3, which are all above him, give him a hard time, which is why he's here. And Tokoyami does have a hard time melting Nomu, but it is possible. It is very, very possible. Once again, if Tokoyami draws everything that they want and checks like a god, they can melt Nomu, but it's really, really tough. Ochako. I think Ochako is bottom, top, mid. I think this character, and this is, Ochako has a very soft place in my heart. This is the character that I'm maining at the moment. And I love the deck that I'm playing. I think this deck is really, really fun. And she has a lot of options. I think that she has the tools to fight through this, but it's really hard. I think our hardest matchup is actually Jiro and Eraserhead, because speed on things and being able to stop that speed is kind of difficult, because I use so many of my resources to be aggressive, to like put pressure on you. If I don't like finish my kill, I'm left wide open. And these characters, like, they can kill you if they've got big Midoriya energy. So I think she's a mid-tier character, but she could peak into top tier. I think she could. Todoroki is if you can survive to late game, I think he's a really good mid-tier character. I think he's pretty okay versus Kiroshima. I think Todoroki's pretty okay versus... Actually, Todoroki's not very good versus Jiro, I don't think. And then I think that he has a pretty tough time versus Eraserhead. And this is where, like, as Todoroki, I have to put Mineta in my sideboard exclusively to fight Nomu. Nomu's a pachinko machine. Did you get the right block? 7-hand size? No, you're dead. Yeah, I agree. But yeah, I think that if you let Todoroki get built up and you're not Nomu, I think he kills every character in the game. It doesn't matter if you can DR him. It doesn't matter if you can block him. He's gonna find throws. He's gonna put +8 damage on all of them. He'll just murder you, as long as he checks well in the second half of the game. He also plays like a thicker deck, so like cycling him is not like a thing. So like Kiroshima can't go for like a mill out strategy. With that said, though, the good and void versions of the deck have throw as Kiroshima, right? This deck has throws. This deck can play flashes, which are good versus 7-hand size characters. If Eraserhead is afraid he's gonna die, he can like blank the buff, but like we're playing a bunch of throws in our deck as a water deck, and so like Todoroki 7-hand size versus Eraserhead 7-hand size, I actually give it to Todoroki, but I think that Todoroki has worse matchups everywhere else, and I think you have to play the matchup really well. Ida, I think Ida's a low tier character. I think you as a player have to put a lot of work into making sure that your plays are correct and good. Giving +3 speed and making sure that you poke is really fantastic. I think it is a blessing and a curse that Plus Ultra came out, because we have a lot of issues with my opponent having Plus Ultra, they can block my things. With me having Plus Ultra, I make my things incredibly fast if they don't have Plus Ultra, right? And so like Plus Ultra is like such a linchpin with this that it feels the same way as All Might, right? It's not quite as detrimental, because my main thing isn't here. My biggest thing about Ida, and I agree with Fidu, is I think he actually belongs in sideboard tier. I think if you're playing his symbols and you're having an issue with your opponent outspeeding you as Eraserhead or outspeeding you as Jiro, I think that you're allowed to play him in your sideboard and get away with it. To the point of like being like, I could see like a Fire Tokoyami, if you like lab out the deck enough, being able to play Ida and get enough value out of it. I think that you could do that. I think that could happen. But yeah, I think he's a low tier. He could squeak up to mid tier maybe. I've only ever played him really off of Void and Fire, and I haven't played with his new kick. And so there's that. I think I'm gonna leave him in low tier for now, just because it makes my graph look nicer. Shigaraki. Shigaraki's got big Nomu energy, right? Like these guys are like this. Like if you squint your eyes, these guys are like the same person. He makes every attack double. He makes one attack double, but gets an extra hand size. Has a little disruption on his face. Defense and aggro for like ever. What aggro once and disruption once. There's the question, right? So I think I'm down to put him in top tier. I think that Shigaraki is a deck that you should sit down and be afraid of, right? I think that Shigaraki is a deck that you have to build your deck around. I think he has a problem with Kiroshima. I think he has a problem with Eraserhead. I think he absolutely melts Nomu. I think he melts Jiro. I think he melts Tokoyami, unless once again the bird pogs out, just absolutely melts you back. But yeah, I think this character is good, and I think this character can accidentally find wins against all of these characters, especially 7-handers. Literally touch my opponent 3 times and they die. That's great. That feels wonderful. That feels really, really good. And that's not to mention any of the others. And so, like, him existing and, like, trying to fight Kiroshima and Eraserhead feels tough, but, like, he has got really good matchups with the other 2 top tiers, and these 2 just fight it out. Atsui, she's a mid-tier character, and I'm only putting her at mid-tier because until I'm proven wrong, this character doesn't kill anybody without her ultra rare. Every time that I have ever died to an Atsui, it has never been anything except for frog lashing. Frog lashing is how you kill with this character, and that means that your cards are doing most of the work. That means that you're having to do most of the work in order to get you there, right? If my opponent just holds 2 1-high blocks, I don't know how you lose to this character. With that said, all of her things are very, 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 very fast. They're incredibly fast. Honestly, faster than Ida, which is hilarious. This character hops around. Yeah, I think this character is very good. Ayama. This character is the most fun low tier character you can play. Yeah, I think this character is fantastic. I think this character is really, really good. He loses to Nomu. I think he's got an okay match versus Kiroshima if we kill him by turn 3, maybe turn 4 at the latest. But if we ever go past turn 4, turn 5, I think Ayama just can't win that matchup. I don't think it's possible. He has no defense versus Shigaraki. He's got no defense versus Nomu. Do we care about this? I guess Eraserhead could just, like, stop one of his moves from getting big and just block it. Like, just erase it and then block. And then I think this matchup actually feels pretty volatile, if we're going to be honest. Hey, all my moves get big and fast. And they, like, shake hands across the aisle. Hey, nice to meet you. How cool. Small Might, he's a low tier character. I think this character, you as a deck builder, you as a pilot have to juice so much out of All Might, and it's kind of like you're just hoping that you string something together. I think it's just not consistent enough. It could squeak into mid tier maybe, but I'm gonna leave him in low tier until I find results. I don't think I do think he might be the worst low tier character. He might be. He hits hard, and Crone Frog takedown is going to be sweet in him, right? Like, play this thing that doesn't count, discard, and then draw a card. It's a 4-high for 8 that doesn't count as progressive. I'm a 7-hand size character. He's got a lot of things going for him, but I think that I have to make a really solid deck, and I got to play the heck out of it in order to make this character work. Kamui Woods, I think if you play the world's lamest Kamui Woods deck, I think that he's pretty top tier. I could easily put him at the top of mid as well. I don't know, and I've not played very much of this character. I think I've literally played 2 games ever. I don't know what this character does against Nomu. This character gets melted by Nomu, right? Right? Like I have to commit my character 5 times to reduce his character. That's so much. And like increasing my damage doesn't help me a ton. I think I have to build my. He just blocks Nomu. I think you have to get there though, which is where I'm not in love with it. I don't know what he does against Jiro, right? Like these 2 characters stop each other. Yeah, I think that like if you build a really solid defensive deck, I think that you can play Kamui Woods really, really well. But I think that like you have to play the deck well. I don't think that the deck like pilots itself exceptionally well. I think you have to be good, not the deck. And for that, I'm gonna actually like put him in mid tier, and I don't think he's gonna stay at top of mid tier. Whenever we get done, we're gonna there you go. Free rescue, complete every tag. True. Crown X, that's true. All Might 3. I think he's the top of or the bottom inside of top tier. I think this character is very, very good. I think he still has Kiroshima problems, and I think that until we find more answers to like fight Kiroshima's build, I think that Kiroshima's allowed to go into All Might 3's turn with 1, if not no, cards in hand and live, and that's our big issue, right? I think he's got big Kiroshima problems. I think he's got big Nomu problems. He absolutely loves to eat 7-handers alive because they feel like they have to hold a bunch of cards in order to survive against Nomu, or survive against All Might, which means that I get to actually like outspeed my opponent, and like all my base damage moves always hit, which is great, which is super, super good. This character makes you play the game differently, which is like a really fun, like he actually has, this All Might has big Nomu and big Shigaraki energy, which is why I like him so much, because he has like 3 totally different symbols than both of these characters, and they have the same, when you sit down across from All Might, your game plan is it can't be autopilot. You have, because of how his character works, my opponent actually has to play the game differently, which is super rad and super cool and super good, and I love it. Yeah. Tama's a violation. Tama's a villain confirmed. Yeah, 100%. Ojiro, the biggest sideboard character I've ever seen in my entire life. Yo, are you tired of Kiroshima rolling up to your locals and winning every week? Mainboard Ojiro. This character mollywops Kiroshima. There's pretty much nothing that Kiroshima can do. This is actually like kryptonite to this deck. I have watched it in person, and the Ojiro, I have watched an Ojiro melt a Kiroshima and not get touched. It's like almost impossible for this character to keep up with Ojiro. It's crazy because you have to sit there and you're constantly like dabbing the sweat off your forehead about like, when is the once per game gonna come? I have 14 face down foundations. What am I going to do? They have to, once again, it's got big villain energy, right? Where they gotta, this character has to play the game so differently. With that said though, he's not amazing versus everybody else. He is very much a kryptonite spear to Kiroshima. So he if I could leave anybody in sideboard, this is where I put him. If you are afraid that Kiroshima is gonna, like, you're gonna go show up to this webcam event and you think the field is gonna be 60% Kiroshimas and you want to make sure that you win game 1, I would mainboard Ojiro and then sideboard the Kiroshima. Mainboard Ojiro, side the Nomu, right? Mainboard Ojiro, side Ida. That's probably all that I would do. I think that's my last one. Maybe Ojiro, then Shigaraki. I don't know. Depends on your lineup. But I think that this character raffle stomps Kiroshima. Very much sideboard character, but not very good on his own. Man, talk about one of the coolest characters. I'm gonna put him in the sideboard slot just to talk about him. I think Shoji is one of the most interesting deck builders delight characters. It's a shame that he only has 2 symbols. The evil symbol does not exist in My Hero. It sucks, but it's true. He's a cool Staff Strike deck, but if I'm going to play Staff Strike the way that we'd play this, I would just play Momo. He's a cool life clog your card pool deck, but if I could do that, I could just like play Atsui. He's he's like a slightly worse version than like some of these other characters. I think that his best option is actually under life. You play all the throws that you can, right? And you pay 5 life to pick up one of these cool throws. Your 0 gravity lifts as you have it, and then you commit your face. And then you give it 2 damage, and so it guarantees deals 4. And then you play the second 0 gravity lift out of your hand because you obviously had it, and then you get another free 4 damage in. And then it's possible to just like pay 4 life and go pick up a meteor shower. I think that's a really cool way to play the character. Like he's a toolbox deck, right? Which means that you have to do a lot of the heavy lifting to make sure that you are toolboxing correctly. You have to make sure that you are good enough at the game to make sure that you can sequence things correctly. You're not just gonna get free wins by, oh, I drew 5 attacks as Jiro. I'll kill you. I'll kill everybody in the game, right? 5 attacks as Jiro kills everybody but Nomu because she literally didn't draw a 6th attack, right? Mina is a. Am I gonna put Mina in mid tier? Hold up, I gotta actually have like a crisis. I have slept on Mina because she's not a very Tam ass deck. Tamron Cardwell hates how Mina plays, but that can't allow me to dissuade how good she is as a character. I think she has a lot of heavy lifting on her cards. And so I think that Free Love, I don't know if you have seen getting rolled by Mina. We have made some crazy chaos attacks that her just ripping them off the top and passing them for free is kind of nutty. I played. You're gonna say Tam, but I literally have a match on my. Channel of Mina versus Denky, and the match was 15 minutes. The whole match was 15 minutes. If she rolls you, she freaking rolls you. She has big Tokoyami energy without having the consistency of Tokoyami. I actually want to leave her in mid tier because I actually think that she does not do very much. You actually just get to just like roll people. And that's kind of the tier list that I have, right? Of like your deck does the heavy lifting, you do the heavy lifting. And I think she's right in this sweet spot, actually. She's not good enough to be top tier. She's not good enough. She could exist in mid tier, and I think I could sleep at night. Crazy as that is to say. Mount Lady. I have done about this much work with Mount Lady. I've done way more theory crafting with Mount Lady than I've done actually playing Mount Lady. I think Mount Lady is... Man, I just don't know. All right, if I just got to shoot from the hip, I think she's mid-tier. I think... if a deck is super random, it's fine to be a decent meme deck and roll games. I completely agree. What I'm saying is that you actually have to, like, you don't have to, sometimes you don't have to play, like, a really tight game. Like, as All Might, I have to play a tight game. As Sarah, I have to play a tight game. My cards aren't getting me there. I'm getting me there. Sometimes as Mina, your cards just get you there, dude. And that's, like, I think she's good. I'll move on to Mount Lady, though. I think that this character is cool. There are two major ways to play her. Number one is you can play her with your 4 characters stacked, and eventually, if you can survive to turn 12, you get plus 8 damage on your moves. Or you play none of her, and every cycle of the game, you get a free momentum, which feels really good for things like Recipro Extend, which feels really good for things like Detroit Smash, which feels really good for like a lot of things. She's cool, but I don't actually think she's very good. I think she's actually too slow. And so I think I'm gonna put her in low tier. I think that she's not great. I think she's not great. I think she has to work really hard to not freaking die. And I think that's her big issue. Yeah, I think that's her big issue. All Might 2. This guy's insane. I have played a total of 3 matches with this character, and he feels nutty. If I were to take an All Might to a tournament, it would be one of these two, obviously, and I do not know which one it is, because I don't know which one is okay to fight Kiroshima. He says discard the top 4 cards of my deck, cancel Kiroshima's Enhance, right, for the -2 damage, but I don't get to, like, lift the card. I don't get to, like, mess with the block. Yeah, and if they do block, yeah, I think I'm going to actually play All Might 2. I think All Might 2 is great. I think All Might 2 is really, really good. As soon as we get any more ranged cards under the fire symbol, he is a fire range deck, bar none. Right now, he's a fire fury deck, and he feels insane. He could easily get away with being a punch deck. It's great. Yeah, this character is very, very cool. I like this character a lot. Achako. I think Ochako is good. I think Ochako is very, very good. I don't think that she's quite in top tier, because even as somebody who made their entire Ochako list under Chaos exclusively to play Frigid Heatwave twice in a turn and become a 9-hander with 33 health, she's got, like, the most 5-hander problems out of anybody in this list. It is so crazy hard for her to actually draw attacks. It's insane. It's insane. She is given what she's given. If I play air, I don't have like a real consistent kill. If I play death, so I get like latent skill. I don't have like a real consistent game plan. If I play under death, once again, like the best thing that I can do is like her own move, maybe some Shigaraki Fury stuff, right? Has to be blocked with a mid, but that's like a 4 damage move that like doesn't actually like push the game forward. Oh, it's a 4 damage move and I'll pick it back up. Who cares? Who cares? Right? Like I don't see this character being a top tier. I think that you as a player, you have to figure out how to keep her alive. And if you can keep her alive, you can win the game. She's this game's true 5-hander, no cheat codes. Completely agree. Completely agree. Yeah. A Rock 2 with Turn to Dust is cool. I agree. I totally agree. I think that is a cool line, but I don't think that being able to play a Turn to Dust every turn or a Turn to Dust lift Turn to Dust, like doing that 10 damage is not enough to like stop Tokoyami from doing 33 to you, right? As somebody who's actually played that matchup, it's really, really tough. He had to literally whiff on a kill turn, like draw 7 cards. They were all gray, right? Up next, we've got Froppy. Froppy discards cards from my opponent's card pool. What do I do with Froppy? I don't think Froppy's game plan is all that great. She's got big Moneta energy. Once again, like I think these two characters are kind of like interchangeable. It's really cool that they share 2 symbols, excuse me. But yeah, I think she's a Lotzer character because I think that these guys are just the same. And I think like if you wanted to, if your opponent has been like blocking your stuff a little too easy, you could sideboard her, but I don't know why I would sideboard her and not her original, right? Unless I'm sideboarding the 2 instead of the 1, I'm sideboarding the 2 as 1 so that I like have a little bit more health. I actually don't know what to do with this character. And I hate to say this. This character is almost an Ida tier. Almost. Like she's so almost. Yeah. She's all the way down here with like All Might 4. And that's it. That's every character in the game. There is no more characters for us to talk about until the provisional pack comes out. Just kidding. We'll talk about Ida too. I think this character is terrible. I think this character is really, really bad. I think I don't even know what he does. Let me actually just double check and read him so I make sure that I don't slander poor Ida's name. Response once per turn, discard a card, after an attack is played, draw a card, period. This attack gets +2 speed. If you discard an attack, it gets 4 speed instead. So the second half of that move was exactly the second half of that move was, or the second half of that text is only relevant on the last move of the game. Enhanced : its attack speed is at least double its printed speed. It gets +2 or -2 damage. That'll happen maybe once in a game. Like this character's got like 2 once per game abilities. Sorry, his bottom enhance is like once per game, and then his top enhance is like only ever cycle a card. It's like discard this foundation to like draw a card, which that's good. But if you want to do that, like just play Kiroshima under Void and pick up just play Kiroshima under Void and go pick up calling for backup every turn, right? Like if you just want to cycle a card every turn, just play Kiroshima. You don't have to do it here, right? Because this is response once per turn. If this character said response once per attack, he said your turn, response once per attack, we could talk. We could talk shop. The worst character in My Hero. I have not even thought to make a deck with this guy. Couldn't be caught dead doing it. What do I think about the Kiroshima versus Shigaraki matchup? I feel it's close. I think it's close if you can find your card that says they have to block with printed 3-block modifiers, and then they don't hold or build printed 3-block modifiers. You have to play 4 attacks as Shigaraki to make your attack happen, which means that you have to do that like 4 times, which means that you have to do that 4 times in a like you have to draw 4 hands worth of attacks 4 times. Playing a 16 attack deck that's not going to work. Right, because you're checking attacks. Like, it's impossible for a 50-card deck to beat Kiroshima as Shigaraki. I believe that. I think you have to play bigger than 50. I believe it. I believe that. response once per turn, give my opponent's attacks +2 or +4 speed and -2 damage. Yeah, that's where we're at. So from here, we'll do a little bit of cleaning up, and we'll see if we can organize these into what I actually think the top tier decks are. I think that here's my undisputed top 4. We're gonna put you into 5. Actually, I don't think I could do that. I think I actually have to do this. No, this is where I'm gonna leave it. There's my top tiers. Okay, mid tiers. You're at the bottom. Sorry, lady. I love Ochako too much. We're here. Oh, I can't figure it out. I think. They're the same character. Here. I think that I am down for this line. I think this looks like a good line. And then my low tiers. You're going to come back down here. I think you're pretty high up. I think you're not good. This character is not good. Plus Ultra is like a hell of a card, though, right? Do not put Ochako over Froppy. I'm doing it. I think Ochako's insane. Honestly, Jose, I want to play you with some games. I actually want to play you with some games, my guy. I would love to jam some stuff out. We're here? Is this where I'm at? No. Midoriya is better than this. I think I feel these are, if I could combine these two, I would. I think this is my line. I think this is my undisputed list. I think Froppy is slightly above Kamui only because of clearing the card pool. I think Froppy's over Kamui because she has a more win the game strategy as opposed to a not lose the game strategy, right? And I think that that's more valued in my hero in set 1 than keep myself alive and find a backswing. I think being able to just kill them on 2 is good, right? Like, this character can kill this character, and I think this character cannot kill this character. Like, I think this character has a very hard time killing Namo. I think this character has to go to deadlock to kill Namo. And this character does not. This character finds her 7 foundations. They're all face up. She builds for 2 turns and then slings 6 damage moves that are unblockable. And then you kill Momo. I think this is it. I think this is my tier list. Guys, what are your guys' thoughts? Let me know. I'll go pull up the poll. Do you like? Yes. No. Boop. We'll start it there. Do you like my tier list? Yes or no? I mean, we can put it. We're not even using this bottom half of the screen, so we can just put this here. No. Midoriya takes so much brain to play. Agreed, which is why he's all the way down here in low tier and like mid low tier. But if my opponent plays like a Neanderthal, then I just get free wins. Kind of how I feel about Ayama as well. My big thing, Enigma, is I don't know how Ayama gets has an okay matchup here, but these are like the same character, but I think she's just more consistent with finding the checks and literally will never run out of gas. I don't know, these characters, it's like impossible to fight. It's so hard. Yeah, you have to play 3. That wasn't an option. That wasn't an option, Freelove. I think you just have to play like such a tight game versus a lot of this top tier. But sometimes you can just like squeak a game because like you found 2 of, what is this attack? Death, Earth, Life, Search. Turn 2, you find 2 tight-lipped, 2 panache, shining naval blast, and you actually just murder everybody. I understand your reasoning on Mina, but I refuse. Low mid tier. I don't love this list, but I don't hate it. Hey, and so here's the fun thing. Make and share your own, right? This should be able to get you to the template. Yeah, make and share your own. I would absolutely love to see what you guys think. Post it in my Discord. You can go find my Discord in the link to the description, or in a link to it in the description, as well as !! Discord in the chat right now. I will go right now, and in my hero, I will create a channel called Tier List Picks, and I will pray that you are able to post pictures into it. I know that I can, because this is mine, but it's now going to be at the very tip top of the My Hero CCG. So whenever you find your tier list, put it in there and we'll all talk about it. And we'll talk about your shitty opinions, just like I forced you to listen to mine. So with that, thank you much, you guys, for hanging out with me. I greatly, greatly appreciate it. This was fun, and once again, I appreciate you guys helping me get to the goal of 50 subs over on Twitch. I've got a couple ideas of where I'm going to be going in the future. I'm announcing coaching starting at the beginning of the year. If you go over to patreon.com/TamCardwell, I've got options for coaching for like monthly sessions. If you're interested in these cool online or in-person events that we're going to be having. I would love to help you get better and go win those. I think that's all the plugs that I got. Thank you guys for hanging out with me and making this this year fantastic. Last stream, last video. It was a fun one. I wish you guys all well.